ShartimusPrime, ShartimusPrime. Reading comics, toys are hella sick, hella whacking it, taking bad hits, taking bad shit. Subscribe.
That does not make me so happy. Hey, what's up you guys? ShartimusPrime here, doing another Marvel Legends action figure review on the Marvel Legends Infinity Saga Iron Man movies Mark III Iron Man. If you're trying to get your Marvel Legends, you can do so at big. Get your big badass toys at BigBadToyStore.com. Click the link in the description below. And while you're down there, I ask you to please hit that like button, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And we're not doing the I Give a Shart segment because I obviously want this figure because Hasbro could totally redo it. I mean, if you've seen the original version, which I'll show off later on, yeah, this looks so much cooler. Love the packaging. This is my first Infinity Saga figure, so yeah, we get a very endgame kind of theme going on. That's what it reminds me of anyway. You can see a little bit of stars right over there. On this side right here, you can see some Guardians, and you can see some Thor and Falcon and Hulk. And then on the back, you can see the Iron Man poster image right there. And then there's a little read up over here. If you want to read it, go ahead and pause it right now. And then here's another poster. You can see Captain America, and then is that, yeah, Wanda right there. Oh, we got the Black Widow. And then on the top, it says Iron Man. Is that the same image as it was on this side? No, it was not. Okay, yeah, not the same image, but it does have a Hulk on both sides. So that's interesting. Anyway, you can see Iron Man. It says Iron Man Mark III right there on the top and not much more at the bottom. So let's get to it and crack this thing open. And here's the Mark III Iron Man figure out of the packaging, and this thing looks sick already. I will talk about things that I don't like, believe it or not, but there are a lot of things that I do like. But first, let's get a closer look at the accessories. You get a pair of fisted hands, you get the wide open hands right here, and then we get these different accessories for the right forearm. And for the most part, I really do like how these hands look. Like throughout the whole figure, you get some really nice looking shiny metallic red, even on the hinges and everything. So that looks great, missing a little bit of white paint right over there. Unfortunately, these repulsor blasting hands, which you can't port anything into or anything. It would have been nice to have effects to plug into the bottom of the feet. But yeah, these don't have a hinge or anything, and you can see it's mostly because of that hand guard right there. It's not going to allow the kind of movement that you'd want if you did have a hinge on it, I guess. So they didn't have a way of shifting that around, so you only get, you know, the upward motion with these hands right here. On this side, you have some options, which is really cool. So you can see the inside of it right there still has some nice detail, and you want to port this on right here if you want to cover it up. You will see a little bit of a seam. You know, we'll look at more details on the figure later on, but you get this missile launcher option right here, which is really cool. I do like it a lot. Nice looking gold and black. My only problem with this is that when you have the fisted hand on here and you try to get him to fire, sometimes this hand plate gets in the way from the missiles, so it's like, that's going to run into his own hand. So yeah, just make sure you have it positioned right. Or maybe if I heat this up, it'll point upward a little bit more. I don't know. There's the bottom of it right there. It does look pretty nice. And then you get the little hand guard right over here. So you want this little circular shape, you know, pointing towards the hand, or the circular side of that shape pointing towards the hand, and then it ports in, and then he can start blocking bullets and everything. And they have this nice little mechanism on the inside of it and everything. You can see some red paint in there. Looks very well detailed. I love it. So I think they nailed the likeness of Robert Downey Jr. with this head sculpt. It looks fantastic, man. I am very impressed by this. For some reason, looking through the viewfinder right here, it doesn't look as realistic as I'm seeing it with the naked eye. I just think the photoreal tech came out very clean with this figure. For some comparisons, I think this is the Age of Ultron one right here. It does not look so good. And then we also have the Homecoming version right here, which, that dad jokes and slaying it, right? This is an Iron Man 2 Mark IV version, I believe. Thank you, Anthony James. And then here has been my favorite one, which looks the most like Robert Downey Jr. This is the first 10 years one from the same movie. These two are supposed to match, right? They kind of do, kind of don't. The mustaches are a bit different, right? It's supposed to be the same movie. So let's see if we could pop this head on here. You can see you get a double ball joint right there. Nice metallic paint on that plastic. And that fits on there okay. All right, can't complain about that. Looks pretty good. But getting the actual Iron Man Mark III helmet head sculpt on here, I think this looks great. For some reason, I just still want to see blue right here. But yeah, they have the white right there in the helmet. Oh yeah, one thing I wanted to point out with this one is, yeah, you can see the white in the helmet right there, but I got this extra white thing on the very top, and that bothers me. And there's some weird cracking going on the back of the helmet right there that bothers me some. I do love the attention to detail to the gunmetal gray on both head sculpts though, and the gold does look very clean on both, so that's cool. And there's looking at the side of the head. Let's see if we get more of that crackling thing. A little bit more swirling, less crackling. Yeah, you can still see some of it, so it could be very irritating. You can see some of that going on right here on the back, that line right over here. I mean, I do like the detail with the gold, though. That looks great. Really nice looking sculpt. A very flat Iron Man butt, so for you Iron Man butt lovers, not your best day. Right here we have some nice gold trim. Do like that. Not happy with this big swirling line right there. That's frustrating, but love that gunmetal gray. Looks so sick. Kind of missed the mark right there. Nice attention to detail with the blue and white. These pinless arms look really good. I'm happy with those. Nice details in that hinge right there and in the joint. Missing a little bit of gold right there though. And then you can see the inside of the elbow. You can see a little bit of a seam with this piece right here, right? You don't see it so much over here, but you know, of course it's removable. It's going to stick out more. A little bit of swirling, and the gold looks really solid throughout, man. I mean, there are parts where you can see a little bit of paint missing, but for the most part, it looks really clean. Again, these joints right here have these nice rivets in them. I think that looks badass as hell. And then you have this pin joint, which, you know, it's kind of like a pin being used for the sculpt, which I think was very clever. This side is pinless right here, so that's pretty neat. I mean, it looks like a pin would go right through there, so I'd be very, very surprised. You can see that we get some swirling going on. This line is intentional, but that's swirling right there, so you can see it's faint, but the sculpt looks great on this thing, man. I really love it. A lot of details to look at. This thing is just badass. And then you can see peg holes at the bottom of the feet right here. I really thought I was going to see articulated toes. We're going to get into articulation more in a second, but yeah, I thought that could be a pin, but no, and it looked like it could be the shape of a toe joint, but no articulated toes. And then since he doesn't have his own effects, you have to plug in your own, but they do fit in there nicely. Now, aside from my gripe with the toe joints, I do wish the head could look up more. We get those double ball joints right there, and he can only look up that far. Not the best for the flying poses. You can move the heads downward, and it does get a little bit gappy over there, so I do prefer the disc hinge in the neck. You can turn the heads side to side, and you do get a great amount of head pivoting right over there. You don't get butterfly joints. I'm not seeing any butterfly joints anyway. But you have these shoulder pads right here, which are actually attached to a ring that goes around the shoulder, which I think is pretty clever. So when you move the shoulders around, you get that pad moving along with it over there. So that's cool to see that they've brought that over here, because we saw that earlier with some other Iron Man comic figures. You can move the shoulders out that far. You get a bicep swivel, great double jointed elbows, and then just these hands turn side to side and hinge. You can't really get it to move back. It will just really hinge downward. Yeah, and that's still kind of tricky to do, but it will work. You get a great diaphragm joint that turns side to side, and it does pivot, and it will move forward just that much and back that much. You do get drop-down hips, which is great to have on an Iron Man figure. I love that, so he can kick all the way forward and back that much. You do get an upper thigh cut, and of course you can move the legs outward that far, so there you go with that. Upper thigh cut, as I already mentioned. Great double jointed knees. You get the X-27 heel to butt right there, and then you get ankles that do move down a little bit. They will shift up a little bit. Then we get side to side motion right here at the ankle, and beautiful ankle pivot. It kind of runs into this piece right here coming down from the boot, but still, that's really good ankle pivot. Now to measure out this Mark III Iron Man figure, you can see that he is standing just a little under that 7-inch mark. And then for your Iron Man movie Mark III figure comparison, you can see our first Hasbro Mark III Iron Man next to our Infinity Saga Mark III Iron Man, and wow, what a huge improvement. Hasbro, good job. I mean, many years difference between these two figures, but there is a lot to show for it. I mean, that is incredible. I really love this figure. This one right here, don't love so much. I was trying to see how far the head would move up on this one. Look at that, how the ball and neck is just one piece. And then for another recently released flashback figure, we have the Avengers movie Mark VII Iron Man from the first 10 years line compared to this Mark III, and I love both of these figures. Now, I do prefer Mark VII over Mark III. Love the Mark III, of course, for many obvious reasons, but the fact fact that we had Iron Man being able to suspend himself without using his hands, I always thought that was a really cool bonus with this one. Love this armor. Love that one. I want to know which one your favorite is out of the two. Let me know in the comments below. And then for another badass Iron Man figure comparison, we have our Mark III MCU figure next to our 616 modular armor, and then we have our classic Iron Man right over here. And man, all three of these are really badass. I will be getting back to the Ursa Major Wave. I have this figure and maybe some other stuff I'm going to talk about, but I will get back to that wave. Then for an Iron Man 1 movie armored figure comparison, we have the first 10 years repainted Mark I, and then we have the Obadiah Staines Ironmonger right there. First version. Oh man, cannot wait to get my hands on the new version. So yeah, these two do not scale at all whatsoever. Then here's the new Mark III figure. Next to some more contemporary Iron Man armors, we have the Mark 45 and the Mark 50. I think I got my numbers right, and it's kind of funny how this is just a tad oversized compared to these newer Iron Man armors. I guess it makes sense, you know, older, bulkier, right? I don't know, I'm just trying to make it all make sense in my head. Iron Man party,
I am
yeah!
Iron Man, and I am Iron Man, and I am Iron Man, and I am Jarvis.
And then here's the Mark III Iron Man. Next to your average 6-inch scale figure, we have the Marvel Legends Big Time Letdown Spider-Man. Oh, yeah, you again. Hey, the theme song thing. Hey, I got a new one. Check it out. It goes like this. I am Spider-Man. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please show some love to the channel by hitting that like button. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button as well as a notification bell. And a big extra thanks to all these people that support this content via the Tronin membership. If you're interested, check it out. Link below. This figure is freaking cool, man. I have my complaints. Yeah, I have my complaints. I really wish I could port effects into those wide open repulsor hands, but still, man. And I have other gripes as well, as I discussed earlier in the video, but it is a very cool and shiny and very well sculpted Iron Man figure. This is not for everybody. Like, if you just want your Iron Man armory completed and you already have a Mark III and that's good enough for you, well then, hey, that's fine. I can't blame you for wanting to pass on this figure. However, this is a much better figure. It's a much cooler figure. And at the price point of around 25 to 30 bucks, I'm going to give this Mark III Iron Man a sub rating of I love it. And that price point, oh god, that's not really feeling good in the gut. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? But I'm curious to know, for real, not just the price point, but the figure itself. Let me know in the comment section below. If you want to see the latest Marvel news and a photo gallery of images, you can find it all over at marvelousnews.com. And if you want to stay in touch with me on social media, you can find me over on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok. And I will catch you guys later. Peace!
Crispy.
Hey, new ShartimusPrime videos. Hey, you should click one. Yeah, click on one of them. Or subscribe if you haven't.
We're shot.